culinary movement and service here on the island of Puerto Rico. It is a inspiration from my humanitarian work here that I was able to execute under the direction and guidance of World Central Kitchen and Chef Jose Andres. And after my experience of being able to support the organization with sourcing and launching and activating the kitchens, and me having the ability of being able to connect with many community leaders out here in Puerto Rico, as well as many farmers, I decided to want to stay here in the island of Puerto Rico and continue my humanitarian work through starting this movement and supporting the farmers and supporting them in creating a demand for fresh local produce here on the island. So we officially launched January of 2020. And we offer a personal private chef experience to your home. Currently, because of COVID, we then transitioned to a meal delivery service by the name of Tasty. Yes.
Amazing. Okay. Appreciate the context. So it's been a few months. So it's right before all this scenario started to unfold. And that's interesting in itself. But how's business been during kind of this uncertain time?
It's been a very interesting time in the sense that we've actually been thriving thanks to our contactless delivery options that we give our clients. So basically, because of our inability to be able to provide our personal and private chefing services to our clients' homes, with our meal delivery service, we're now able to work hand in hand with local farmers. And what we do is that we develop weekly fresh menus that communicate what is fresh in the island of Puerto Rico. We then hand curate these menus and these recipes, and then we hand deliver them to our clients' homes throughout different municipalities of Puerto Rico.
Amazing. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate you providing that context and all that. So yeah, so it sounds like you're filling definitely a need and demand and so forth on the island. And so do you deliver to just Dorado, or are you deliver to other places too?
So we're currently we just recently expanded to San Juan. So we started out in Dorado. That's where we're currently located. So we have our kitchen space here in Dorado, and now we just extended to San Juan. We're also open to other municipalities, but those are our two home-based municipalities.
Awesome. Yeah, so the two of us kind of have a unique experience of how we met. We were on like a film set for Discover Puerto Rico, and
Yeah.
that was kind of fun how that went down. And I think we're kind of kindred spirit. Yeah, so we're kind of yeah, all that. And then so maybe let's get into pivoting and kind of like your mentality. That's something that's always caught my attention when we've just had kind of open dialogues and just conversations. So like maybe talk about what inspired you to kind of become a chef, and maybe start there.
Sure. So my inspiration came from my upbringing in the Boogie Down Bronx, New York. I grew up in my grandmother's catering hall by the name of the Tropicana in the South Bronx. And I think that's when my entrepreneurial spirit was born, growing up in my grandmother's catering hall. And then the spirit, or the drive to becoming a chef, came from my mother's Puerto Rican cooking. So just growing up in that vivid environment in the Bronx, and always being around food and live music and celebration, it's something that just kind of sparked something within me early on, to wanting to live on my family's legacy of being able to create and bring beautiful, memorable experiences to people's lives and souls. So yes, I grew up in my grandmother's catering hall, and then I worked my way up in New York City restaurants, high school on. I had the privilege and opportunity to work for some outstanding mentors of mine in the industry. So I got a lot of experience up front on the field. I worked everything from culinary to pastry to a multitude of very well-known restaurants in New York. And then at 21, I had enough knowledge and experience to venture out on my own as an entrepreneur, and worked for myself as a personal and private chef in the Hamptons. And then from there, my career as a personal and private chef just took off. I traveled the country to many locations of my clients' homes, and I worked with them seasonally as a personal private chef. And then after acquiring that experience, I then decided to start my first company of my then business partner by the name of Truffle and Basil Private Chef Group in New York City. And that was a personal private chef experience where we brought a personal chef experience to our clients' homes in the tri-state area. And then after we launched Truffle and Basil Private Chef Group, I then launched the Blue Burner, which was my boutique culinary cookery, which we taught everything from knife skills to 3-course romantic meals to baking and pastry classes. And then third, we had our virtual cupcake line by the name of Cupcakes Modern, in which
That sounds good.
yeah, Cupcakes Modern. It was a little ahead of its time, but it was a e-commerce website, so you were able to go online and like click in like what little cupcake and like buttercream you wanted, and us chefs, we produced it fresh and delivered it to your home in the tri-state area. So we did that for a bit, and then I went to school afterwards. I then decided to then go. I studied at the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York, where I studied culinary arts. And then I also studied and graduated from the French Culinary Institute, where I studied baking and pastry arts because I couldn't decide. I was passionate about it all, and I wanted it all. So yeah, so I that was my background, my experience. And then from there, decided to move out to Puerto Rico upon graduating. I had, right before graduating, I had finished my externship program, in which I did a 6-month externship program in Lima, Peru, in Astrid and Gaston, with Chef Gaston Acurio, which is known to be the #1 Latin American restaurant in the world. And I had an amazing opportunity out there to connect with my indigenous Andean culture right before graduating. And then my wonderful husband came across this amazing opportunity out here in Puerto Rico that we just could not say no to. And yeah, it just made sense. I was born and raised in the Bronx, but I spent my summers as a child in both Ecuador and Puerto Rico. So I had many, many, many fond memories of Puerto Rico growing up, and just like coming out here and just like, living the island life style. And once Alex, my husband, shared with me about this opportunity, I'm like, when's the next flight out? Let's go, let's head out. And that's exactly how it happened. It's really funny. Like, he just showed up for Thanksgiving. I think it was like Thanksgiving break right before graduating. He's like, hey, honey, my office is offering me an opportunity to stay, because it was like a temporary experience. And I said, well, we have nothing to lose. Let's head out and go. And yeah, and we moved out to Puerto Rico, within a few weeks. We made that all a possibility. And, no going back, no regrets. I'm extremely, extremely happy out here. There's a level of peace and happiness that I've been able to connect with out here. I feel like I've been able to find my north and my purpose with being able to connect here with my indigenous roots, with my food, my culture, and then, the wonderful blessing and experience that I had to be able to support and work for World Central Kitchen and Chefs of Puerto Rico, really confirmed my place here in Puerto Rico, which in the beginning I was very kind of like, oh my God, what am I doing? I moved there from like one day to the next without a plan, and everything's kind of falling into place, and we're just very grateful, very, very grateful.
That's amazing. Okay, cool. Sounds good. So tell us a little bit more about the transition. I know not everybody watching has been down in Puerto Rico. A lot of people have. Like, how would you describe maybe some of the differences of doing business down here, and how you've kind of made the adjustments and all that?
The adjustments with like my coming from being a city
Yeah, I mean,
dweller
yeah, it's a different
become an
atmosphere.
island girl.
Dorado's pretty different. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. The moment I landed on the island of Puerto Rico, I felt a gravitational pull, which was very mystic. I don't know if what people would think, but I automatically, the moment I landed to the island of Puerto Rico, there was something within me that just said, you're home. And in the beginning, to be quite honest, I fought it. I'm like, what do you mean I'm home? Like, I'm a New York City girl. Like, I'm from the boogie down. Like, this is mommy's home. This is like abuelita and abuelito's home. I'm here, like, connecting and visiting and like seeing what this is about. You know, like, let me get an opportunity to get acquainted with my culture. And I felt like this gravitational, energetic pull that was like, you're mine. Like, you're here to stay. And I was like, what do you mean? But yeah, it's been a very interesting and transformational journey here in the island of Puerto Rico. In the beginning, it took some time to get myself acclimated and really connected with my history and culture and my people. But I'm so happy that I made the adjustments. You know, I had to do a lot of readjustments and re-evaluating of my priorities and my definition of happiness and success. You know, I feel like out here, um, you know, I will always be a diehard, you know, New York gal and a Bronx gal at heart. But there's something about Puerto Rico that I've never felt so comfortable in my skin, so happy. Like, there's something, I think it's just my connection to nature every single day, and the
Yeah.
level of peace of mind that I connect with just, you know, walking on the beach every morning with my doggy. Wait, I'm gonna, you know, walk right over you. So it took some moment to getting adjusted to like the lifestyle and island time, you know, which is an actual a real thing. Um, so yeah, in the beginning, I just had to kind of just like let the ego go, let everything that I knew of, I needed to just like let it go, and just start anew, you know. But I'm really happy I made that adjustment, because I just now it's just, yeah, this level of peace and connection that I have to this island and its people and its food and its culture, and it's just I'm I've been enchanted. I've fallen in love with Puerto Rico.
That's great. So let's go down kind of your definition of success that you're kind of pointing out, and your happiness, because that plays such a big factor. You can, you know, have a thriving business, but one of the energy I've always, you know, left after our conversations is how you transfer your enthusiasm and passion and sass and just life to scenarios. So maybe talk about what that means to you, because a lot of people right now in context are sheltered inside their home, and you know, that type of light is important to them. So yeah, what does that mean to you? How do you are you able to accomplish so much within that definition?
Well, you know, like I mentioned, I needed to do a lot of readjusting when I moved to Puerto Rico in terms of my ideals and my priorities with this new environment, that I was no longer calling my summer vacation, but actually my new life, my new lifestyle. So with that, you know, at least I can only speak from my experience that, you know, moving out here to Puerto Rico, I felt like I needed to, again, let go of absolutely everything that I knew of or what I thought had value or was of importance, and realize that out here there was something that I connected with culturally, that I noticed that I noticed an authentic level of inner peace and happiness that my Puerto Rican people just like shine every single day. And I remember like moving out here and thinking like, what is it? Like, you know, like how does one acquire, you know, that inner peace and happiness? And I felt that with wanting to reconnect with my history and culture, I got it. Like for me, it was automatically, I needed to just absolutely let go of everything. And for me, I almost felt like I was given another opportunity in life to be able to communicate and dictate what is my definition of happiness and success versus what I thought it was. You know, for me, you know, it was, you know, having the degree, you know, making that certain amount of money, living in a certain neighborhood, driving a certain car. And then out here, you know, I just connected so much with my people, and just saw that that just didn't mean absolutely anything. You know, out here, it's more about, you know, it's our willingness or our connection to our family, and having time to share with one another, and be able to share, a warm meal together, and just it's connection to nature. Like I felt like it was a huge like internal journey and dialogue that I began when I moved to Puerto Rico. And with that, I almost feel like I had like I enhanced my internal relationship with self. And I think harnessing that, and my experience with Hurricane Maria, and having to show up as a leader, as a powerful leader and a voice and a powerful mover and shaker on this island, as a first responder, I think I acquired so many skills and talents through that experience that allowed me to be able to almost put blinders on, and just and keep my head down, and just like focus on that end goal until I get it, And I think those first responder skills that I acquired here in the island of Puerto Rico have allowed me to be able to reconnect with my purpose, and I almost feel like I've gained like 20 years of life experience just from being a first responder here at the hurricane, which now I support myself, with what's happening now with COVID-19, and it helps me stay focused on what's important for me and my immediate family and my purpose and what I'm doing here in the island of Puerto Rico. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like, I live in this pink cloud. I mean, I just, I lost my godmother, Ana Denizad, last week, and I attended my first Zoom funeral. She was one of my, biggest female inspirations and kitchen mentors. But at the same time, I also, experienced and witnessed a gender reveal from my girlfriend on Zoom last week. So, I'm very present to what's currently happening around the world, and I feel that it is my social responsibility to take the skills and the experiences that I've acquired throughout the years in order to be able to show up for myself, and show up for others. And that's what I am doing for myself with Tastemakers, with my mission, with my movement, and with my business and my family. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, no, that was a great explanation. And feel free in the comments to leave any additional questions and so forth, because we'll definitely be looking for those and happy to answer. This is useful because I think this is another side of the equation, because we get to hear kind of your mentality behind all the work that you're doing, because you're launching a new business that has a lot of traction and customers that are kind of coming in the door. So that's huge. Any books or inspirational podcasts or things you're listening to at the moment that you'd recommend?
I on top of my head, well, I do follow Tony Robbins,
Mhm.
um, SGI Buddhist Solutions, Sahara Rose, um, um, Lewis Howes.
Yeah.
Um, I'm currently working on The Artist Way for the very first time. It's been a very interesting journey. Um, and then I just started reading Celestial Prophecy. So those are my current reads. That's what I read in the morning, or what I'm currently listening to while I'm producing in the kitchen. So you want to know what's going on in my.
Yeah, that's good. Um, yeah, I mean, getting that insight is pretty key. That's for sure. Um, yeah. Okay. So, I mean, any other
brain.
like, yeah, no, that's helpful. Maybe is there another like tip or something you throw out there for how you're keeping those blinders on right now, and maybe what's attributing to success? Somebody out there that's listening who is just looking for that kind of um, mental click that you have on how you're going about things.
But I can only speak from personal experience, and I decided early on with connecting with what's currently happening around the world, in which I sympathize greatly, as a humanitarian, what's happening. But I've decided to take this time and this opportunity and work with it and work through it to make it work for me and for others. And with that, I decided, call it, my conscious, my subconscious or my imagination to press a restart button with my life and show up in a way that maybe I desired to prior, to COVID. And maybe I felt like restrictions or blockages that I didn't even know that I had. And, seeing all that's happening, like I choose to just be light. I choose to just show up to the best of my ability for myself and for others. And to be quite honest, I think it's really supported me. It's really supported me with connecting with what's really important in my life, reevaluating my priorities, connecting with what's really important, and most importantly, how can I serve others? How to be present, how to get out of one's head and be able to help another, help a neighbor, help a family member, make that phone call, to be a light and make a difference in someone's life that, that if you didn't, maybe connect with that before, now you are, like I've taken this opportunity to, reach out to my grandparents and speak to them every day now, something that I didn't before. It's I'm making it as I desire. I'm that's the advice that I can give. I would say, take this time to reevaluate where you've been, where you are, where you desire to be, and take this time as an opportunity for yourself, for yourself to be able to show up in ways that maybe before you didn't, or didn't know the ways that you could. And it supported me, I choose to be my best friends in this situation. And I look to encourage and inspire others to do the same. It's one of the reasons why I got so inspired to develop and execute this movement on the island of Puerto Rico, is because I saw so much potential in the future of the youth of Puerto Rico, in our agricultural landscape, in our celebration of our culture and our people. I just saw so much, and I saw so much opportunity, and I decided to just create it and develop it. I was so inspired by it. And that's what I can share. Just look to the light, look to extend yourself and push yourself outside of your comfort zone and start getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's how you can be able to support yourself, to push that potential out of you that you didn't even know you even had.
That's good. Being comfortable, being uncomfortable. I think that's a good statement to reflect on, for sure. So as we're kind of wrapping this up, our time went quick, but appreciate the time. I know on your so ways that people can kind of follow what you're doing, we'll put it in the notes, but we can find you on the tastemakerspr.com. And then on your Instagram page, the Tastemakers, or we'll put it in the notes. I think it's just Tastemakers. And you leave kind of recipes, and you have some other kind of like creative things, or where can people find you?
Sure. So you can find me. I'm on Instagram at the Tastemakers PR. That is our brands and our mission and our company Instagram page. My personal Instagram page is Chef Jen Herrera. So I'm mostly on Instagram, but we're also on all social media platforms, again, by the Tastemakers PR or Chef Jen Herrera. You can also shoot me an email at my website. My email address, my website is www.thetastemakerspr.com. And my email address is info@thetastemakerspr. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions or concerns, whether it's through the business and our services that we provide the entire island of Puerto Rico, or just to say what's up. Yeah, we're here to serve.
That's great. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Definitely, I enjoy your food. Look forward to having more of it soon. So as we're in this transition right now, we're gonna go and break into like a few minutes as we're getting Alejo, the next individual I'll be interviewing. And so we'll give you kind of some background on who he is, etc. So we're gonna tune out to a small little kind of like commercial break as we do that setup. So don't leave. You're not gonna want to miss Alejo. He's got a lot of information to drop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I appreciate your time, Jen,
course.
and hope you have a great day, and we'll be talking.
Thank you so very much. Love you guys.
Welcome to Uncommon Entrepreneurs 3.0. My name is Drew. We formed Uncommon Entrepreneurs in September 2019 as a way to create a networking atmosphere to unify the local Puerto Rican entrepreneurial eco center. We're here today in beautiful San Juan, Puerto Rico, shooting. We're pivoting in some ways. The business had started with us bringing 100 to 200 entrepreneurs together on a monthly basis to network and meet together, etc., and exchange ideas, with the idea of bringing people that are down here for Act 2022, those that have moved for other reasons, and those that are in the local Puerto Rican community all together to exchange ideas, etc. So now that we've entered this new normal where everybody is at home and looking for ways to pivot and to adjust and etc., we still have a need to connect as a community and share ideas and share skills and share details that we all bring together. So we're launching a new Lunch and Learn series where you have the opportunity to tune in on a weekly basis at 1 p.m. live and catch a 20-30 minute clip of a local entrepreneur, for the most part, that is talking about skills that they've developed, that of how they're pivoting, how they're making moves, what tools they're using in today's structure, etc. So you can find it live on Facebook. You can find it live on YouTube, and then we'll be reposting it on our YouTube page for Uncommon Entrepreneurs, so you can see below on the details on how to subscribe and all that type of detail. We're going to be interviewing many different local leaders in this community. If you personally have a message to share that you think would be beneficial to the audience with a skill that you've mastered, etc., or perspective on how you see the economy heading, or have a product or service that you think that would be good for this community to be aware of, feel free to reach out to us at the details below, and we can communicate with you on that. Or if you have somebody you recommend that should be speaking, let us know about that too in the details. And as we see names getting repeated and industries that you're looking to get more information on coming up, we'll make sure to target interviews around those themes. So our objective is very simple: to connect locally within this ecosystem that is San Juan, and to be an example for the rest of the world. So if you're not down here, you can see how you could build a similar community where you're at, where we're connecting these local entrepreneurs with different skill sets and backgrounds to help each other, overcome this uncertain time in history. This is who we are and this is who we're not, to see if this connects with you, because this isn't for everybody. We are for people that are solution-minded versus problem-minded. We're for people that are for collaboration versus competition. We're for people that are with new ideas, open-mindedness versus old thinking that got us to where we have at the current moment. We're for a growth mindset. We're for learning versus just fixed mindset. We're for abundance versus scarcity. We're for faith versus fear. We're for acceptance versus judgment. We're for free enterprise versus government control regulation. We're for mentorship, passing on to the next generation versus hoarding everything for ourselves and the talents that we've gathered, etc. So continue to tune in. We're going to be listing our live events as they come along in the coming weeks, and jump in. This is meant to be for the community to collaborate. We want your feedback. We want the type of information you want to hear, so that you can be learning right alongside us. So here's to the future.
Welcome back to the second phase of this interview. And today we have Alejandro Diaz, and I'll kind of go through a little bit of his background. The two of us connected through mutual friends while I was down in Medellin, Colombia. And Alejandro Diaz, or Alejo, is a true uncommon entrepreneur. He has been a Spanish teacher for years and scaled his business to bring on a team of teachers online and in person. I personally learned Spanish and Colombian culture from Alejo. He was born and raised and resides in Medellin, Colombia. And we'll get into how Medellin has evolved into an interesting mix of world-class entrepreneurs, technology, and businesses, and overall kind of like lifestyle hub city in the world. I've spent 8 months of the last few years down there, and it's just magical. With Colombia being one of the fastest growing economies in South America in recent history. New opportunities have developed, like the need for language learning, business assistant, and help to overcome kind of cultural classes as companies relocate down there. And that's kind of where Alejo's company Grasp was born, to grow as a fundamental resource for those who want to be successful and enter the local business ecosystem. And Grasp assists people and companies considering relocating to Colombia to get a grasp on what you can expect and how to thrive while the country is filled with opportunities. So we brought Alejo on Uncommon Entrepreneurs for a couple reasons. One, him and his company offer programs and services on how to learn Spanish from like a tutor and student relationship. And we're all in a new place where we need to reinvent ourselves, and we're at home at the moment. So there's a great opportunity to, you know, consider, if you've ever had the desire to learn Spanish, that this could be one way of accomplishing that. And then for two, for all the entrepreneurs watching out there and considering entering new markets like Colombia, Alejo and his company can provide a unique perspective on what to expect and so forth as you look at that opportunity. So thank you for joining, Alejo. How are you doing today?
No worries. Thank you very much. I feel very fortunate to be here today. I understand there's a lot of people here who resides in Puerto Rico. So, you know, me being from Medellin, it's a great opportunity to be able to show you guys what is this new business about, talk to you a little bit about my city, about my country, and the opportunities you will find here if you open your world.
Exactly. I think that's key, opening your world, opening your mind. So let's maybe start there. So you were raised in Medellin, right? How have you seen it? It has such a reputation. I mean, you know, not to point to shows like Narcos, but that is kind of like what some people have as a perception in their mind. And after spending, you know, considerable time down there, I've, you know, learned there's a different perspective. But maybe catch people up. How was it, you know, being raised, and how is it now, kind of as a city and a culture?
Well, that's a very good question, and it is a quite interesting story. Yeah, as everyone knows, Medellin was back in the 80s, in the 90s, considered the most violent place in the world, thanks to, you know, our infamous guys who were dealing with drugs. So yeah, all of this happened. Fortunately, these people, you know, went sent to jail. Some of them disappeared of the scene. Then, you know, difficult times create opportunities as well. People from Medellin and the politicians, you know, joined together. There were public policies created, and there was a lot of investment in education. The metro system was like one of the biggest things that ever happened to Medellin. It allowed people to connect, because we were like a really dispersed city, people from different social status, rich and poor, separated, and that transport system allowed everyone to be together. Then, of course, the public policies with a lot of investment in education allowed for the city to slowly change. But this was not alone, because also there were changes within the country policies, because also we had this war with the guerrillas for more than 50 years that dragged our economy down the road. So basically, between 2000 and 2010, a lot of changes happened with that. We signed a peace agreement. So lots of people started seeing Colombia as a good destination, and especially Medellin as a hub for some entrepreneurs who were risk takers, like, oh my God, we're going to Colombia, to Medellin. You know, after watching Narcos, maybe because also Netflix was like a good thing to put our name in the map somehow. And I remember like 2011, 2012, we were part of a contest, like the most innovative city in the world, because of the public policies I already mentioned. It's something, you know, it's broader, but, you know. So we won this contest, and a lot of companies, tech companies, decided to start looking into the city. We created the technology district, and that was like the last momentum we needed. Lots of people started coming, more tourism, more business tourism, health tourism. So to me, as a local, it was more like I was in university until 2014, 2015. There was no way I would see a foreign person in the streets. And out of a sudden, like in 1 year, it was thousands of blonde people, you know, like walking in the streets with their backpacks. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? You know? And, you know, I kind of like liked it because I was always passionate for languages. You know, like I was always interested in cultures. And then I decided to get into that scene. Somehow I found a language exchange program. I could go like every weekend. It was one of the first projects I made in Medellin. It's called Colombia Immersion, Spanish school. That was an inspiration for me. I met a lot of people, you know, like-minded, but with a bigger word than I had, because to me, as a Colombian who was born in a country that was not into the word, my word was pretty small. So
Yeah.
it helped me, you know, like to grow that mindset in me. And I started working with these people because I like them, I love them, I love meeting, you know, getting to know new cultures. And eventually I became a teacher myself. And you know, just learning a lot from the business part of it. Being a teacher, you know, it's also a very enriching experience because you kind of like have students from every area you can imagine. And also these areas are basically based on people who travel, who are able to work abroad, work online. So I was involved with people in marketing, people in social media, people in tech, mostly. And yeah, finally, after a few attempts with some projects, last year I decided to create Grasp, which is like a mix of everything I've been learning during these years. And yeah, maybe you have a few questions about Grasp.
Yeah, for sure. And that. I think that's a good lead in, because I'm hearing you say you've kind of you follow a similar path of a lot of entrepreneurs in that you've made these incremental adjustments as you've gained confidence, clarity, and kind of stepped up and so forth. So yeah, let's maybe start by what is Grasp and the services, and that might give some context with some of the questions.
Okay, so Grasp is born based on my experience, my 4 or 5 years experiences working with foreigners, seeing their needs, how they evolve through time, because this is a really rapid changing city. It's constantly evolving. And what I see now is this type of tech companies migrating into this city. And I mean, especially tech companies, but there's individuals as well who are looking into moving to Medellin. And lots of people, they just don't know. They come here and improvise, or they're just afraid of making the move. So that's why I created Grasp. So Grasp helps people with the whole process before they decide to come to Medellin. So we help them explore the market, explore the opportunities, train them in how what are the cultural cues they will find when they move here, if they want to hire Colombian people to work with, if they want to make business in the ecosystem. Then once people and companies are here, we kind of help them with all of the language part of it. We offer training in Spanish, but also if they hire their staff in Colombia, so we train their staff, take them to a good level in English so they can interact with people all around the world. Also, we keep going with the cultural training when it comes to them overcome those issues that might arise in communication. And also, we are aiming to help people with the business training part of it as well. Like, we know there's smart people there in your companies, and these people sometimes don't know how to speak their mind, how to bring their ideas into the table. So we want to help them develop those public speaking and leadership skills as well. So your company will be more successful. That's in the big terms of things what we're doing. So our specialty, if there is a word that defines us, is communication. We want for your company to be able to communicate with the ecosystem, with the people, with your partners, and we want you to be able to communicate with the people you work with in Colombia. I think I lost you for a second. Okay. So we lost Drew for a second. So I'm gonna continue talking if anyone has questions. Okay, I think we have Drew back.
Excellent. Appreciate that breakdown. Sorry for the disconnect and all that. So appreciate you giving kind of the background on GRASP and everything. I think to me, Medellin is one of my favorite cities in the world for a slew of reasons. I mean, the cost of living, the exchange rate benefits those that are coming from the U.S. with a dollar exchange. Certain neighborhoods in Medellin and Poblado, Laureles, and Envigado are, it has a upper, class feel to it. And there's just so many, there's the nightlife is great. The food, the cuisine has just been blowing up. And it's a great place if you're a digital nomad and wanting to, live for a significant, I think it's a very livable city. And so forth. So tell me, Alejo, from your perspective, what do you hear? What do you think that appeal is for like the current, Medellin culture? And, so a company brings themselves down here, but they also have these other benefits that come with it.
Well, yeah, definitely. We talk about, we can see this from two different perspectives. We can see it from the company's perspective. We can see this from the individual, the person perspective. So if you bring your company, obviously you will be able to hire people for a way better price than you could in the US. We have now very talented people. As I said before, the government implemented some public policies maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that allowed a lot of people to start working in certain areas that it was not common for a Colombian person to go to university for. So now we have, for example, programmers. Our programmers are, like, how do you say this in English? World class, right? Is that, yeah, world class developers.
Yeah.
And you can hire them for a fraction of the price you pay someone in the US, right? Also, they're in the same time zone as US, so you can just work here with clients the same time as most of US. Like right now, we have only 1 hour of difference.
Your
right?
Central time, yeah,
exactly.
For sure.
So that's one of the things here. Time zone, you can save a lot in costs, as well as a company. Well, the taxes part of it. Could be, you need to be very smart in who you hire, but you can also save some money in taxes. I think it's not as good as Puerto Rico in that matter, but it's still better than setting your company in the US. I have, personal friends who just came to Colombia to establish their company, and they work with the US market, and they're doing pretty well here. For individuals, well, that's a different story. I think everyone I know, not only Americans, but pretty much from everywhere, Europeans, Australians, Asian people here, they love Medellin. They love Colombia. Colombia is a very diverse country. We have everything. I mean, for such a small country, we have plenty of cities. We have cities in the ocean, cities in the mountains, like Medellin. That makes us a very unique city in the world. We have different climates, different landscapes, so you can travel around Colombia and South America for very cheap, being Medellin your main hub. As you mentioned before, the food here, the night scene in Medellin, it's just amazing. You can, have the party of your life for, a few $100, and, next morning you will be fine. Like, oh yeah, I don't regret it. Not only partying, of course, but everything. Like, I know people who are able to access a lot of services to develop themselves, so they have more free time. They can hire someone who cooks for them. They can hire a personal trainer. They can hire someone who cleans their house. They can rent a penthouse, for ridiculous prices compared to the American market. So I think most Americans come here and they can, improve their lifestyle and have more free time to develop their personal projects as well. So yeah, there is a lot of advantages. And now, of course, people would say, no, but it's Colombia. The services are not good quality. Well, they are. We have been growing the quality of our services a lot. As an example, Grasp. Grasp is a very, very specialized company that will help you, achieve success, to shortcut that path of, the learning curve of getting to Colombia. And that will save you money and time as well.
That's great. Yeah, I think those are all advantages that I found too while living down there. And the weather too, it's like San Diego,
Cool.
beautiful all year round. And yeah, it just, the cost of living difference, it really just stacks up. So that's cool. Okay, so maybe to transition a little bit, another kind of question for those that are watching that are interested in picking up Spanish as a second language. I think we all can agree, Chinese, English, and Spanish are the go-to languages to communicate, and learning a language can help you, bridge trust and even if you don't relocate to Colombia. I mean, if we're in Puerto Rico as well as, throughout America and the world. So with that being said, you've been teaching countless students over the years. You hire teachers in your company. What are some of maybe the differences between somebody, that wants to learn and does and versus doesn't, and, kind of leaving that open for you to kind of explain from your experience how, what separates somebody that is able to gain some traction and how difficult it is?
Well, for example, I'm going to put something very simple. Myself. If I wasn't able to speak English, I wouldn't be here today. Grasp would not exist. And I would be just like a normal citizen of my country, Colombia. My market, my world would be really, really small right now. In the span of 5 years, for me, I could see like hundreds of changes in my life and a lot of growth, being able to access information that otherwise I wouldn't be able to. Right? Yeah, I could go to Google and ask for translation, but like having interactions, human interactions, it's a very important situation when it comes, as you said before, again, building trust. So yeah, let's say also like give you examples about people who have been my clients before. They came here to Colombia and they were depending all the time from other people to do everything pretty much. They had to hire an assistant. They had to hire someone who go with them to the restaurant to do this, everything. Same here, same for like someone who works in US and, let's say they hire staff in Latin America. They want to contact with their staff and they want to deliver some projects, and the communication just gets too rough, like they need to use translator, maybe they need to hire an interpreter, but the interpreter doesn't have the insight of the company, of the project. So that kind of like puts some barriers to communication. And as you said as well, like Chinese, Spanish, and English are becoming those like languages that you have to learn. I'm actually learning Chinese myself right now. I can see it in the future and that I need to go for it, and I might be able to put it into my company's portfolio as well for the future. I don't know if that responds to your question.
Yeah, I think that does give some good context and so forth like that. So how would that process work for somebody that wants to learn during, they're at home, they're trying to learn? Is it can somebody pick it up while doing this online, or is this more of an in-person to really go through this?
Okay, that's a very good question. So I think yes, it is a plus being in the country or in a Spanish-speaking country. But to me, it's more about your will. If you have a strong will, you can learn anything you want, whatever you want. So yes, I've had students from all types, and I have students who right now are learning with me and with our teachers during the quarantine. And it's been quite an interesting thing because it has become like a very efficient way of learning now, because people are in their homes, people are not doing a lot of other stuff. They're able to focus more. They're used to use their computers now to learn stuff. Like, it's getting more natural. Before, it was like me teaching people how to, okay, let's do this in your computer. Let's set this up. Now everyone knows how to do it. So it becomes more of a fluent process. And yeah, it's been also like a way of people to stay connected, to keep human connection. I feel like a lot of my students have been, like developing this more of a personal connection. They look forward to our classes. They feel better. We can talk about everything, because this is not, like a class whole setting. This is more about, our methodology capitalizes the students' needs and, likes what they like to talk about. We talk about their professions, their problems, their projects, and I can give feedback to them, or they can give feedback to me, and that's what it makes a two-way experience. We both learn from each other, and that makes motivation grow further, and that makes students want to coming back to the classroom and use the Spanish, and maybe try to use it with other people. An experience I had with one of the students is that he started, commenting the memes of their Latin American friends, like, oh, I understand now, look, and understanding the sense of humor, even though his friends, spoke very good English, but that was kind of like a private part. Like, they would like, this guy is posting in Spanish now, but now they can understand, and they can, have a different interaction with their friends. So, there's countless experiences, countless stories. It's everything good. Everything, it's all like a learning experience, or the learning process for anything. It just makes you grow as a person, grow as a professional, as long as you have the motivation and the discipline to work in that. And that's why we are here, to be not only, that kind of guide in the on your learning path, but we want to be motivators. That's our main thing here. We really like to bring good energy into the classroom, so people have a good connection with it.
Yep. Yeah, I think we're definitely there, and that's kind of been my experience too. When I moved down to Medellin, I was learning Spanish initially at one of the universities, and through private tutors, I found that they could kind of meet me at where my level was, and kind of escalate that quicker. And it's pretty reasonable, obviously, with the Colombian exchange rate, and all relative to what you can gain with the skills. So good. And kind of maybe wrapping up, it's appreciate you coming on to this Lunch and Learn. How can people find you in your services?
Yeah, of course. You guys can go to graspcolombia.com. Grasp, like getting a grasp of something. graspcolombia.com, and you can also go check one of our programs in Grasp. It's called Classroom Colombia, so you can find it on Instagram. Classroom Colombia, real quick, it's a program that it's in our language part of it, that it's for more specialized, it's more about certain people with certain needs who want to learn and travel at the same time, and who are not designed, who are not born to be in a classroom. So you'll be able to see some pictures, some videos of what we do there. It's a very innovative approach as well. And yeah, feel free to send me a message if you want to have more information about this, and I will be happy to jump on a call with you.
Awesome. Well, good connecting. Appreciate the time, and we'll be talking.
Okay, thank you very much. See you guys.
See you guys. See you in the commenters. Talk soon. We have our next Uncommon Entrepreneur event this coming Friday. We're going to have 2 guest speakers, Bianca Wakeford, who has a background in multiple startups and currently is working on Homebase, which is kind of like a co-living concept. And then Eric Levi, who is a holistic nootropics expert, talking about different ways to stay healthy during all the crisis and everything like that. So you're not going to want to miss this coming Friday at 1 p.m. We're streaming it live and then, putting it on our YouTube channel. So appreciate you guys checking in. We'll be talking soon.